Welcome everyone. Today on our live talk show, we have two very beautiful people, Helen and Patrick. And I am so excited to have both of them on our platform at Ola Doctor. And something about them, so they are from Level Up Studio, and it is about strength training, and they motivate people to use their own weights as well so that they can be strong. So I'm so happy to have both of you over here. Welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely happy to be here today.
Yes, so Patrick and Helen, can you talk something about this Level Up Studio and what exactly do you do over there?
Okay. So we are a studio that caters towards all needs. We do a lot of functional training. We do a lot of rehab work as far as like helping people with weight loss, getting them ready for competition. We do classes. We have a pretty wide range of things that we do in the studio. We really focused on, like most of the stuff we focus on really is functional training, as far as trying to get people to be stronger, but not just like physically stronger. We try to focus on the mental aspect of training as well. So that's basically what we do here in a nutshell.
That's interesting. So now I know that all our viewers are waiting to see what you can teach us and how we can be stronger. So the stage is all yours.
Okay. All right. Well, today we're going to start off by just talking about some of the benefits of strength training. And just to kind of give you guys a step-by-step approach, we're going to just start with this format today, just kind of Q&A and get you guys a little information. Like again, we're going to start with strength training and the benefits of warming up as well. Okay. Basically, the first part of the program here, we're going to talk about how to use basically free weights to develop and maintain like healthy joints and things like that. Like part of it is just help to maintain healthy muscle tissue, increase strength, obviously, just from over a periodization of strength training. It's inevitable that you're going to get stronger. Also too, just increasing like overall bone density, which is a big deal, preventing injuries, things like that. And also too, there are other health benefits besides, getting stronger and all that stuff. It's like, through training and exercise, you can reduce the risk of heart disease and diabetes, things like that. So those are two big things. And lastly, it's just about your mood and feeling good, right? Feeling good and looking good, right? That's a big part of and building confidence too through strength training. So that's a really big component of what we're trying to get across to everyone, right? The second part of that is what types of exercises that people can generally do, not just inside the gym, but outside the gym as well, right? That will build strength, right? So we talk about, obviously we're talking about free weight training, stuff like that. We're also talking about, you could use, instead of weights, you can do stuff at home with like resistance bands, going outside, walking hills, even seriously doing simple things is just gardening, like stuff you can do at home, just like taking, dysfunctional stuff you can do in your home. You could do squats, push-ups, sit-ups, stuff that you don't necessarily need the gym, but we can teach people how to also not just work out in the gym, but also get a good workout at home as well. So that's good.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions about
so far?
Yeah, right now, I think viewers are more busy in watching and seeing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because we don't want people to just think, you know, when we talk about strength training, we immediately think of like these big guys and lifting all the weight in the world. It doesn't have to, you know, heavy is subjective. So, you know, 5 pounds could come a long way for someone. Meanwhile, John over there is lifting 200 pounds, you know. But you know, you just have to start, and like he said, it carries over to your day-to-day life. So carrying the groceries, you know, we want to avoid multiple trips, so we carry all the bags in one trip.
Yeah.
So it just you know, strength training and functional training, squats, deadlifts, all that carries over to our day-to-day lives, and you know, to avoid that back pain that we get. You know, if you get your back stronger, your core stronger, you're gonna feel better doing these day-to-day things. You know, walking around, carrying groceries, going up your stairs. So that's the importance of strength training.
Right.
So I have a question over here from someone that, if, for example, I'm overweight, so does the strength training, is it different, or how much of weight can I lift? Will it differ?
Well, the first thing is we have to see what the person's goals are, right? Is the person's goal to lose weight? That's number one. Because it doesn't really matter. Like it depends on what the person's goal is first and foremost, right? So if their goal is to get stronger and lose weight, we have to develop a program designed for them to, you know, not only just lift weights and do those things, but also to help them to kind of get to whatever their desired goal is. If it's weight loss, then we'll cater towards that. Like we'll cater towards them first losing the weight, but then also modification too. We have to perform exercise. And as we go through these series of programs, like we'll show you like, okay, so how, if someone can't perform a squat, like how would we get them to squat, right? Like, so we have to figure out, like, first of all, what is their desired goal? What's the limitations? Do they have injuries? What's their range of motion in exercises? So all those things come into play when you're trying to create a program for a specific person, right? So some people are overweight but move well, you know, then other people are maybe overweight and have injuries, right? So you have to first evaluate the person and make sure that the individual is functional. Like, how functional is that person, right? And then you create a program designed on their functionality, right? So that's how we would handle someone who comes in the gym, maybe wants to lose weight. There's so much that goes into that question, right?
So there's also, there's also like the misconception, like, oh, I need to lose weight first before I go and do strength training.
Yeah.
So, but that's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
You need to incorporate everything your cardio together, and your strength training from the from the beginning. And you burn more calories lifting weights than just doing cardio, because cardio, you just burn the calories that you burn while you're doing the activity, whether it's running, walking. But with strength training, you continue to burn calories for what, like 24 hours?
24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, after your workout.
And the reason for the audience, the reason for that is because when you're lifting weights, your body actually, when you're lifting weights, I know it sounds bad, I don't want to let anyone be scared of training. But when you're lifting weights, what's happening is your muscles are forming what they call micro tears, right? So the reason why you're burning calories after you finish working out is that your body's actually in a heightened state of calorie burn because it's trying to repair itself. It's actually trying to repair the muscles that you trained, right? So that's why you stay in a heightened state of calorie burn so much longer after you do strength training than cardio. So.
Okay. So, and another question that I have is that how many hours are recommended for strength training, or how many times a week I should be doing? kind of a thing?
Yeah, well, first, the first part of the question, it really depends on, again, the length of training depends on the individual, right? How fit that person is, because you don't want to, you don't want to beat someone and run someone into the ground on the first day. So you want to make sure that they're capable. Again, that's why we do a evaluation in the beginning to see what their work capacity is, right? So some people can maybe perform exercises for 30 minutes. Other people can do it for an hour. But we try to keep our sessions no more than 30 minutes to an hour, right? And then the other part of the question is, what was the other part of the question?
And how many times a week I should be doing it?
We recommend, like, maybe in the beginning for beginners, at least 2 to 3 times. At least 2 to 3 times a week. For at least, with strength training, it takes a little longer. I would say maybe 30, 45 minutes to an hour. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And again, it really depends on what their goal is. You know what I mean? For someone who's coming in and maybe wants to incorporate like strength and conditioning, that could be like a half an hour workout, right? But someone who's really focused on, okay, I want to get stronger, like I want to work on getting stronger, those sessions tend to be a little bit slower, because they need to rest in between and do things like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Yes, I have another question before you take the session. So another question that somebody has asked is, can they do the strength training if they have some injury in their knee?
Yes, 100% yes. Again, as I alluded to in the beginning, like when we meet someone who is interested in doing strength training, and if they say they have a knee injury, there's multiple ways to kind of work around the injury, multiple ways to modify a squat so they can perform the exercises. Maybe they can't sit all the way down, but that's still fine as long as you're working your legs and trying to build muscles. There are machines that we can use here. There are functional machines that we can use, like the leg press, leg extension, leg curl, things like that. And it depends on what the injury is as well, right? So some people can't do extension. So we just figure out like what level of ability they can, what their level they can go as far as an injury, right? Because some people, there's some different injuries. So we just have to figure out what their capability is and then work around their injury.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. For now, yeah, these are the questions.
Yeah. So should I go into the other segment?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have the other part that I wanted to talk about is it's called the principles of strength training, right? I wanted to talk about that as well. So when we talk about the principle of strength training, we're talking about specificity, right? So specificity just means basically if someone says to me, I wanna get better at running, right? So what should someone do to get better at running, right? They should run. So you have to train someone specific to their needs, okay? So if someone wants to get better at squatting, or someone wants to get better at, even dieting, right? So something exactly like that. So we try to train for a specific need of that specific need of the person, right? And the other one here is individualization. Yeah, individualization, right? So that's, again, we talk about capabilities. What is that person capable of doing? Do they have injuries, back injuries, shoulder injuries, things like that? So I may train Helen one way, but then I can't train myself the same way if I have a shoulder injury, So I have to modify based on the individual. And the other is, it's called progressive. With strength training, there's something called progressive overload, right? So to get stronger, we figure out a base level where someone is. So that's through evaluation, we see basically how strong someone is, right? By doing maybe a push-up, a pull, sit-ups, things like that. And we have a general understanding of what their base level of strength is. And then we do something what's called a progressive overload, where we kind of progress the person along slowly to build up to, going from, for example, bench pressing 45 pounds to progressing them up to 95 pounds, So that's basically what progressive overload means. So it's called, I'm sorry if I'm getting too Jimmy, but it just means it's like a linear progression, right? So you want to build someone up from their base strength, and move and progress them along so that in the end of a certain period, they are stronger. And again, I think Helen said this in the beginning, I don't want people to think of like strength as being like, being able to lift weights. When I'm talking about strength, I'm talking about being able to leave the gym and function, right? Yeah. Climb the stairs better. When for her and I, we don't really care how strong you are in the gym, but when we hear that you're home and you're able to run up the stairs with your groceries, or you're able to run and chase your kids down the block or something like that, when you couldn't do that before. So that type of stuff is more important to us than what goes on in the gym. So it's your activities of daily living. It's what you do when you leave the gym. Is the gym thing working for you outside? You know what I mean? So that's the most important thing. Like, can you function better outside? Can you be a better person outside? Can you pick up your kids? You know what I mean? When you couldn't before, can you do things like that? So that type of stuff is we're kind of like, to us, strength training is about. It's not about just raw strength. It's more about the functional strength. What can you do outside when you leave the gym? So that's what that means. And the other thing is just what is it? Variation, right? So variation just means changing programs up. You know what I mean? Because after a while, you have a person, if you keep the person at the same weight all the time, like if you keep a person doing 20 pounds all the time, they don't really progress, right? So variation just means changing up the sequence of exercises, because your body is an amazing instrument, right? So if you do something over and over again, your body just adapts to it, right? It becomes easier, It becomes easier and easier. So what we do is called variation training. So as we switch it up, we may have someone do something for 4 weeks, the same thing for 4 weeks, right? But so we do what's called a training block, right? So a training block may be 4 weeks long. And then within that 4-week period, they'll be doing maybe the same exercise over, so they can adapt to the same movement, right? But then maybe on the fifth week, they'll come in and do something completely different, right? So that what we call shocking the system, right? So it changes up, makes everything brand new, different, more challenging and difficult. So that's what that means. So that's basically what stretching, dynamic stretching is. Squat. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we call dynamic stretching. And then static stretching is just a hold, right? So static stretching is just stretch and hold.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So those are basically the 3 stretches that we'll do to kind of get our clients warmed up and ready to exercise.
So dynamic, ballistic, yes, and static.
Both ballistic and static.
All right. So they will help us in not to injure ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, to prep you before a strength workout.
Yes.
Because you'll be nice and warm. You're not going to like a squat, a goblet squat or something without warming up. You want to make sure you have that range of motion and your muscles are prepped to handle it.
Yes, that's right. So, then this one actually, if I do not want my back to be injured or something like that, so these kind of stretches will help us, like, bending down, because I felt that bending down will make it more painful or not?
Well, again, when we talk about when you're talking about like injuries and pain and things like that, so you have to remember that not everyone is going to be able to perform like a dynamic stretch or ballistic stretch, right? So again, it all goes back to the person and the individual, and if we have to modify movements to warm them up, right? So not everyone's going to be able to perform a dynamic stretch or a ballistic stretch. So if someone comes in with an injury, we'll just have to modify it and warm them up in a different way. There are alternative ways to warm up besides doing those movements, but those are generally like, with a healthy individual, those are generally the movements that we perform. But again, you know, injuries, shoulder injuries, knee injuries, hip injuries, back injuries, things like that are always modified so that the person can warm up safely and perform the movement safely.
Okay, okay. So I have a question over here that somebody has asked that, do I need a spotter while doing strength training?
You need a what?
A spotter.
A spotter.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends. You know, we always have, obviously, if we're training a client, like we're always watching them, making sure they're safe. So we always recommend that if you're training, if you're doing any type of squats or bench press, things like that, you should always have someone watching you. Generally, that's the general rule. But as trainers, like we're always keeping an eye on our clients. So technically we're spotting our clients every time we train them, right? So making sure that their, you know, dumbbells don't fall or they're training safely. So we always recommend, just to the general public in general, especially with the bench press or squat, you should always have someone, if you're planning to truly squat like a barbell and do some heavy lifting, you should definitely always have a spotter, for sure. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And of course, November 19th, we'll be having you again, wherein you'll be teaching us the lower body functional movements and how to work around injuries.
Okay, definitely.
So, yes. Yeah. Thank you, Helen, and thank you, Patrick, for being a part of this.
No problem. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you. All right. Bye-bye. Bye.